You know what time it is.
What's up, beer people?
If you heard it on the hashtag beer town, it's true.
It must be true.
It's true. It is fact. Please, won't you name one of your beers Cart Horse?
And just do something terrible. Just brew a shit beer.
Stick your
Yeah.
finger in there every now and again.
Stir it with a sock.
Every show, it feels like my first show.
Every show is a new adventure.
Did I make sense there? I think I did.
I love them all.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Beer Time with me, T-Bone Troy. In this episode, we got to sit down and chat with Stefan from Little Wolf. He's been making quite a few waves in the craft beer industry, and we discuss why he's doing that, what's been going on. We discuss his rebrand, which has been met with a lot of praise. We discuss why he incorporated his qualification of botany into beer and the success he's had from that. Quite a host of things we get to chat about, and we also got some listener interaction, which was quite cool. The questions that were asked might go over your head in terms of brewing knowledge, but we try to bring it back down to quite a neutral platform. And of course, we were joined in the studio by Murray, our co-host, which was always a pleasure. And without further ado, I'll let you get on and enjoy the show.
And that is the new intro, which we're still working at, and we'll get there. Ladies and gentlemen, just gone a few minutes past 12 o'clock. It is Tuesday, and as always on a Tuesday, we have one show that I suppose half the world looks forward to. It's Hashtag Beer Time with me, T-Bone Troy. Guys, a new year, a new beginning. Have you missed me? I hope so. I've missed being here. I've missed the show. Oh, got some saucy things lined up for the new year. Have you got some new things lined up? Yes, I'd imagine you would. I'd like to welcome two guests. One you know, one you don't know. But the one is an old-time friend, and how would I explain it? He's a bit of a social fiend, social media fiend. He is I'm gonna say it. He's a co-host of the show.
Promoted.
Maza, you've just been promoted. Welcome back. 2018. How do you feel?
Jeez, it's a great start. I was starting off with a bang. I'll take that co-host.
Take that co-host.
It's real good to be back, T-Bone. Thanks for having me. I feel like you've upped your game with some power backing tracks here. I'm really,
we need
starting strong.
We need some thick
Big
power
fan,
tracks
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And the reason we've got some thick tracks here, besides being 2018, we've got a guest that I've always wanted on the show. He's been so elusive. We haven't been able to catch him. But we finally caught him. Steph from Little Wolf. How's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
Cool. I'm going to ask you to speak into that
Into the mic.
into the sweet spots. So Steph, do people call you Little Wolf, or do they call you Steph?
Generally, Steph. They usually call my dog Little Wolf.
Okay. They can't
No,
they can't call you the Wolf.
dodgy innuendos in there. Okay.
They can't call you the Wolf because there's already a wolf in the craft beer scene in Cape Town.
Who might that be?
It just goes by the name of Wolfgang.
That Wolf. Yeah, no. When he came to me at Fest of Beer, he was like, "Using my name again, are you?"
Destined for greatness.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that, guys. Welcome to the show. As I said, I've been looking forward to getting you on the show. Before we get into some shitty chats, I've been looking forward to saying this the whole time. Let's crack open a beer, guys.
Oh, that sounds good.
Thank you for the music. And Steph, you're the one. No, we've had it before, but we've had a few guests who've recommended some tunes while we have some beers. But let's do those tunes a little bit later on.
Sounds good.
I've kind of lined them up, and yeah, I'm just excited to get started. Do you want to jump right in there? What beer do you have for us?
So I thought we'd start off with Hoppy Wheat, my flagship beer. Used to be called American Wheat, now with rebranding, which I'm sure we'll get into. We'll talk about...
It's fucking lekker, this rebrand. It's real good.
We'll talk about what happened there. So yeah, this is kind of a wheat beer base, fermented with a neutral yeast, but then loads and loads of mosaic hops, so super fruity, super crushable, got a nice kind of tartness in the finish makes it really refreshing. And yeah, I'm super happy with how it's coming out at the moment.
Let's crack it open. I've got a host of things to talk about.
Can I just ask, first of all, we are live here on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook, so if anyone wants to go watch us, you can just go log into, obviously, Facebook, and then just search for hashtag Beer Time. Live video happening right now.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a few people, a couple of chats coming up. Not that I can see what they say
It's
from
amazing.
here. But
It's amazing how many people just have their own private chat on these things.
well, since we don't respond, it's kind of...
Oh, live. There we go.
Now, for the first time, I've got two phones, which is, I feel quite gangster. And
What? Is one a business phone?
one is a business. No, one's my old phone. But
Oh.
I need that because
But now it's business.
now it's business.
Inception.
Inception. You can't do Inception.
feedback.
I want to try and mute it so I can at least see some comments coming up here.
Yeah.
Russell Nordier, what a champ. He's watching with me. He's watching me with me.
You are in a video. You're a video within a video. Can I kind of pour this?
I'll have the little one. It's all good. I've had this beer once before.
Yeah, I'd imagine you've had this beer, this beer a few times.
Yeah.
Mazet, Steph, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to 2018, everyone.
How's your headphone sounding? Is it clear? Is it a bit of a reverb?
Crystal. There's
Crystal.
obviously been an upgrade in the studio. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
crystal.
very, very happy with
Are you
everything.
happy?
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Okay.
You? Are you happy?
I'm getting a bit of a
Snap, crackle, and pop.
background noise, but you know what?
Yeah, but that's aircon, I think.
What's in your brain?
Yeah. It's the cavernous space in between your ears.
Hey,
Sorry.
just be demoted if you're not.
some beer.
Drink some beer. Cheers.
Cheers. So yeah, this is the first batch of the hoppy wheat which we've brewed
Ooh.
at Devil's Peak, which will come out in detail later. And I'm very happy with how it's come out. It's a lot cleaner and clearer both in appearance and flavor than it was when I was brewing it, which I'm really happy with. I think it's become kind of even more of what I imagined it to be originally. It's got a really kind of...
It feels more. I'm trying to think of the correct word. Characterized. It's more separated. You can pick up the individual flavors. It's not
Yeah.
mushed and blended. Not that your beer was before, but it does. There's more emphasis on the individual notes.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting the hoppy notes. I'm getting the fruity notes. It's all separate. And
Yeah.
And it does. I know I'm going to kind of go against what I said. It's going to all blend together nicely.
Yeah, I think that's what I also really like about it. Like all the flavors are distinct. I mean, they work well together, but they're distinct, so you can pick them out. It's also just a beer that you can just drink bucket
Yeah.
loads of.
Yeah, which is a terrible thing for sales.
Exactly.
It's
Who would
great.
ever want
It
to do
really
that?
is just super crushable.
Why on earth would you want to go with that?
The combination
Business
of
model.
easy drinking. Yeah. Jeez, it's a great beer. It really is a great beer. I haven't had it. I'll be honest, I haven't had enough of it. But it's fantastic. It really is super easy drinking. As Troy says, you can pick out individual notes while it's still being a smooth balance. It's fantastic, eh?
It's
How many, sorry, go, T-Bone.
no. I was probably just about to ask you the same. Is it about ingredients you were going to ask?
I was going to say, or I don't know if I was going to ask how many like iterations of it have you been through since it's been released till you've kept it, or have you kept the same one from the beginning?
No, I've pretty much tweaked it every single time.
Yeah, little tweaks.
Little tweaks. I mean, so this was actually
Only little things at the brewery.
at the Little Wolf, yeah. Actually, this kind of goes quite far back, this beer. So when I was at the Brewers Co-op in Woodstock is where I first did my first batch of this hoppy wheat. And it was actually called hoppy wheat then it went to American wheat, and now it's hoppy wheat again. Basically, when I came up with the recipe, I was like, I really love the aroma and flavor of IPAs. Like, I really love that kind of hoppy punch. But I find often the bitterness can be a bit taxing on the palate. So, I mean, you could definitely crush one and be amazed. But then you don't really want a second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah,
So I wanted something that really had that aroma and flavor of IPA, but then kind of a much softer in the mouth. So that's kind of where the wheat came in.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not a huge fan of caramel malts in hoppy beers, but I still wanted some body and fullness. So that's kind of where the wheat and the oats came in. To kind of give you a fullness, give you some body, give you that kind of perception of sweetness without having that kind of toffee character, but then kind of the main flavors and aromas are just the hops, so loads of kind of late edition hops. And then that was before the whole New England IPA thing became a thing. And like, as I learned more about that, I kind of started tweaking the recipe more with the stuff I was learning. So I kind of upped the oats a bit. I played with the water a bit to kind of up the chloride rather than the sulfate to kind of help accentuate the body a little bit and kind of give that perception of sweetness, but still just loads and loads of hops. And then again, like I used to just do like a flame out edition and then dry hopping, whereas now I've kind of moved more towards those kind of whirlpool editions. The multiples pretty much stayed the same. When I was brewing at my spot in Cormacky, I did start more with SAB malt, then I moved over to Castle malt, then this batch was brewed with SAB malt again. And I'm not 100% happy with the mouthfeel, so I might kind of, again, up the oats, up the wheat a little bit just to kind of give it a bit more fullness.
And what is your multiple percentage with the pale wheat?
So the wheat is about 30%, between 25 and 30%, 5% oats, a touch of acid malt, and then base malt. That's it. Done.
This is an incredible beer.
It's very nice.
I can't believe I haven't had more of this.
I just actually want to look.
Let's talk through the rebranding, because if you haven't seen it, it's
phenomenal.
Yeah, let me take it up to the camera for the
you
9 people watching.
I want to just listen to you all. Stefan, tell us about
the rebranding.
Tell us about your branding.
I guess where it starts is the name, Little Wolf. So I'm a botanist by training. I studied botany at UCT back in the day. I never worked as a botanist, but I've always been passionate about nature and the environment, and especially living in Cape Town. Kind of we're in the botanical hotspot of the world. When I was trying to think of a name of a brewery, I was looking at a whole bunch of things, and then I looked up what the meaning of the word that. So the species name of hops is Humulus lupulus, and lupulus means little wolf in Latin. When I saw that and figured that out, I was like, got it. Well, firstly, I Googled to see no one else had figured that out, and it seems that no one has.
It's exciting when that happens.
Yeah.
When you finally find something that's no one else has got.
Yeah, especially,
Like
I was super surprised.
domain.
There's a few beer names that have wolf in them, but not Little Wolf specifically, and no breweries that I could find that had Little Wolf.
It's always quite surprising when you've done research and you see stuff that you like, that would be quite a cool name, and then you do the research and you see like, oh, there's 38 other breweries around the world with the same name. One is on like a 1 million hectoliter system, so they're fairly big. And then you go, and a year later, there's another brewery that started with the same name, and you're like, surely you could have just
Googled,
done a little bit of Google research.
Is that how you started with? You started Gold Lane.
I was, I went with
Steel, and then you
Blackjack.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I went with
Peak.
Yeah,
Devil's Mountain.
I went with the Table Peak. And
so then, as I've alluded to, at the end of last year, I've partnered with Devil's Peak Brewing Company. So I'm now producing all of my products there on their system, accessing their sales and distribution channels. And kind of with that transition, we decided to do a rebranding because we're going to have to do new labels for the new bottles. And then they put me in contact with this guy, Adam Hill, who's a fantastic designer. And we had a meeting, and I kind of told him my story, kind of my botany background and where the name came from and what I'm passionate about, and kind of what I really like in labels is kind of clean, elegant look. And I was a bit nervous about having too much color and things, which is quite funny given what the label looks like now. And then he went back and kind of did his thing, and he came back and he had a presentation about the label, and I just think he took my vision, which I knew how it felt but didn't know what it looked like, and he turned it into that.
Was that his first draft?
That was his first draft.
Really?
And I was just like,
one shot.
Fuck yeah.
And did you say is that Adam? Adam
Hill, yeah.
Okay. Someone asked here, Vaynant asked, Too Fresh, who did the rebrand for you?
Yeah. His name's Adam Hill.
Andrew's on it, eh? On it.
On Instagram and stuff, it's at Velcro Suit. He's got a website, Velcro Suit.
Andrew's just throwing throwing everything out before you say it.
Yeah. And I'm super stoked. So what he did actually with the image that's in the background is I sent him a whole bunch of local plants that either mean something to me, or I like the smell of, or the look of, or they've got some kind of story, or I don't know, or just plants that I like and which kind of speak Cape Town and Fynbos to me.
Squiz, yeah.
You said
And then what he did was he actually went and found all these botanical drawings. Most of them are 100 years plus old, so obviously they're in the public domain.
Classical drawings.
Yeah, so classic botanical drawings. And then he layered them all together into that kind of background image. And then kind of laid the other elements over it. And yeah, I'm super, super stoked. You'll see on the...
How many wolves do we have in the label here?
Oh, that's a good question. I know how many I found.
We should do a little competition. There's another one.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah. So you kind of, if you have a bottle in front of you, if you're lucky enough to have a bottle in front of you, look for the wolves. They're sneaking in the background.
No, it's a really, I know those classical drawings you're talking about. They're great, and they work really nicely together as well.
Yeah, so what you do is you layer them all together, put in a bit of shading by hand, kind of the shadows in the background, so you get a bit of, so it gives it a bit of depth. And yeah, like when he showed it to me, I was like, holy schmoly, that looks fucking
Yeah, it's I know exactly what you mean when you say it's their expertise, and you have an idea, but you don't know what you want.
Yeah.
So give a little bit of input, or give the input you think you will be beneficial to the designer, and then just let him do what he does, and then something like that can be the result.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had a chat at the beginning, like, are there any elements that you definitely want to keep? Like, what's our untouchable things? And I was like, the name is untouchable, but the rest, if you
He's kind of kept the fonts.
So the font, he's kept it, he's updated it, actually. So if you do the side by side, you'd see the difference. But he kept it and kind of tweaked a little bit, so it's its own thing, which is also a trademarking thing. You want the font to be different, otherwise someone can come after you. And then all the elements in there, he's got reasons behind them, which is really cool for me to know. Obviously, most people won't know, but it just gives it this depth and this. It's amazing. I'm super stoked. And then, so there's this kind of core range, which has my 2 alcoholic drinks, my 2 non-alcoholic drinks, which I'm hoping to expand a bit this year, which will be that look. But then I've also got my barrel age series, which we're still working on, and then a kind of limited release beer series, which will come out in cans, which we're still working on. It'll be similar look and feel, but kind of extensions in different ways, whereas the barrel age is much more into this kind of very clean, elegant, almost like champagne wine label look, because it's obviously going to be in champagne bottles and stuff. And then the can release, I don't know, I haven't even seen his first draft of it yet, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. This is, just to kind of wrap up the whole design element, but we've been saying it for the last few months on the show, like we're starting to enter the age of artwork on labels. And I think more and more breweries are starting to adapt that, or just have that realization that you actually have to spend a little bit more money on actually getting a professional, and just, you want that. You want that, what you said. You want to go into that meeting and just be like, "Fuck yeah, this is my label."
Yeah.
But before you even get, like, if you're just starting out, before your beer's even picked up off the shelf or your product's tasted, if you've got the best beer in the world and your label, you haven't built a name or anything, it's the quickest way to build a name, other than people saying, no, trust me, that beer actually is good. The label's shit, but the beer is good.
Yeah.
Why not just make a good label, spend some money on it, and then you don't have to have that struggle to get people to pick it up off the shelf?
Yeah, I think it's something I struggled with at the beginning. Like, I liked my old label, but I think it didn't stand out, didn't make people want to pick it up. And I think it was a problem for me. And I think, especially in other markets around the country, so I had worked a bit with Holger Meyer out in Durban to try and sell my tonic and stuff that I was happy to send out there. And he spoke to me and he was like, it's super confusing because the product's good, but it's not moving. Whereas he's had stuff where the product is bad, but it just automatically moves. So mine would just sit there. And I was already working through this, and he was like, it's hard to tell this to people, but I think maybe you need to look at your branding. I was like, I'm on it, don't worry about it. But it's also it's something that you don't really realize. And I know myself as a scientist, and I was just like focusing on the beer. I had the idea and stuff behind the branding, and kind of knew what I liked, but I think it just didn't.
It's so tough if you're a one-man show and you've got everything to focus on, and there's a million things to look at. You just want to make sure that the core is right.
Yeah,
if you've got those other extensions in the arms, then it's great.
Yeah.
We've got a question from Andrew saying, can I ask, because I feel the design is something that new breweries often neglect, but who do you guys really like from a branding perspective, locally or internationally?
Great question. This is good. Before on to that, are you guys sure you're happy? Because my
maybe
earphones,
it's your earphones.
I think my earphones are just.
You want to borrow the ones I brought?
Are they two-phase? Yeah, let's try them on. And while I'm trying that on, maybe you guys can just talk about.
I think it is a fantastic question. I think our South African market is still pretty conservative in terms of what we are, as consumers, willing and ready to accept. The American, if you look at any American cans and UK cans, they can go really like they can go crazy.
Yeah, totally.
And I love it. I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I love the idea of it, and I love the look of it, and they're just doing crazy stuff. But I think a lot of the time we're not really ready there yet, and we haven't got beer that's been around for long enough yet. But my big, I mean, Beavertown's one that comes to mind very quickly. Just
Cloudwater.
because, Cloudwater, like those two guys, I think Beavertown were the first people I noticed that just like shook it up completely and were doing crazy stuff. And I know they won't be, but they are definitely someone that I really look at and excited to see what they bring out new. Cloudwater, as you say, I think is fantastic as well. It's super minimalist, like just random colors and shapes. And
yeah, and I also quite like the idea behind Cloudwater, which there's another brewery in the States that does it, but basically so firstly, the way they produce beers is quite unique. They only do seasonal, and then every season they have something like whatever their season's release is. But then for that seasonal release, they partner with an artist, and the artist designs those labels. So each kind of season has its own look and feel, it's a super cool idea. It kind of showcases the artist, showcases the beer, and it also just gives them such a super like fresh look that just doesn't look like another beer on the shelf.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And then also with Beavertown, so I listen to Good Beer Hunting podcast quite a bit, and the one guy on there is from the UK, and he's interviewed. So Beavertown has an in-house designer, full-time. He does their design, and I
think he was. I remember also hearing that podcast where he was there from the beginning. They just loved what he brought to the brand. I think a similar path to what Little Wolf was on, and they just loved it. And cool, let's stick with it. And now, as you said,
and they realized the importance of design, and they said, cool, we need someone full time who knows the vision and knows the look and can just do it. And it definitely shows.
It's two things. You spoke about having different artists. There's a brand in, I think it's Canada. It's called the Arts Collective. And every single beer that they have, they give to a different artist.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
We've had two on the show.
Is there a common theme behind is there, as Stefan said earlier,
free range? You have got free range, and they.
I like that.
What's cool is that every artist brings his own artwork. So you're going to have once-off cans that are just like you'll only sit on the shelf for like 6 months and then it's gone.
But that's also great. I mean, I've chatted to Andrew from Beer Bar and Beyond, and he said if there are those like for him as someone who does his YouTube videos and his blogs and all of that, for him it's important to have every can. You know, he wants to be one of those guys, and there's a lot of people like that.
Collect the set.
You collect it, and if you don't have it, like you're a little bit bleak and you want to get your hands on it. So there's power behind that as well. It's not just the beer was amazing. If the beer is shit, it doesn't matter. You've still got you've still got it. Jeez, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. I mean, look at that nozzle. That's get a close up there, T-Bone. Now you know you're running with the big wolf here.
I've lost my train of thoughts, but that tends to happen. Yeah, no, you're right. When it comes to collecting, I mean, I'm not allowed to. My wife stopped me after I started collecting a few cans, and she was like, So I've unfortunately had to stop that. I know Beerman. And his Twitter handle is Clearland Beerman. He collects labels.
And he's got like a portfolio or like a
peels
folder,
off the label, and then he sticks it in a book, and then he's got a few books, which that's
awesome. Yeah, I've actually had quite a few, even with my old labels and stuff. It seems to be quite popular in Europe. People collect beer labels.
Yeah, I've had so many
get
people.
These weird like emails and people sending stuff and saying, you can have these labels, send me some of your labels.
They send you portfolios, and they just want coasters, caps, and labels.
Yeah,
and they beg you for it. So you're like, sure.
And you're like, I'm really sorry. Like I'm
not going to pay however much to send it to Europe. Like, cool, if you're happy to send me like a return paid envelope, I'd stick some labels in there, no worries. But they never do.
Last thought on design. Mikella, super simple drawings.
Yeah.
So basic, 1 or 2, 3 colors, but just so unique. You know it's them.
Yeah.
You know it's
Very
the art.
recognizable.
From miles away, it's a Mecca there. Yeah. No,
It's one of those things, I suppose, not just in art, but in any business or sphere of life where it's so simple and you think, oh, it's irritating that it's so simple, but it works.
It works super well.
I think the bottom line is that they're doing something and they're actually doing it, which is.
And I think that's maybe also similar to where Devil's Peak's new kind of artwork and branding. It's also that kind of very flat shaded, simple, cartoony, quite kind of quirky.
Artwork, collectible, story. Cool, guys.
Diversifying.
We've spoken for 24 minutes,
and we won beer down.
We smashed that first beer.
You smashed your first beer. I had my last a couple seconds ago.
Maybe consider going to 750 more, or maybe Black Label, just a liter.
Buy a 6-pack. It's fine.
A liter.
So what is this? And I'm going to show the camera, but you can explain.
Yeah. So basically. So Devil's Peak's also now producing and distributing for Fierce Beer from Scotland, and when they were down around Festive Beer, we decided to do a collab together. The collab is currently sitting in a bright tank, uncarbonated, and what I'm going to be doing, so you got to screw that off.
So you're testing your
my tinctures. Yeah. So essentially what it is, it's a double IPA. So they did a double IPA before where they used flaked rice to kind of give it a nice light body.
Are we drinking this in the right order? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, I just thought while we're on hoppy, let's go hoppy, then we go cider, then we go funky.
Fair, yeah.
Twist.
Twisty.
So I thought...
Sure?
Is it hard?
It's not going to explode away.
Is it hard?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that hard. It's very undercarbonated.
Talk me through that cap in the first place.
So it's called a carbonated cap, so you can screw it onto a bottle and then you put a pin lock, corny keg fitting on there, and you can just carbonate in the bottle. Done. Just so you can take a little sample, carbonate it, see what the carbonation does to your beer before you carbonate the whole batch. So instead of using rice like they suggested, I thought since we're in South Africa, let's rather use flaked corn to give it a nice light body, and then we hopped it with yellow sub, which is essentially Amarillo, and then some... I can't remember the other one. Anyway.
You know what we haven't announced? We've just gone smack back into the show, which tends to happen. We've got a competition, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening, this is Two Oceans Vibe Radio. It's #Beer Time. We've got Little Wolf in the studio. We've got Methyl Lane in the studio. And I suppose you could just call me T-Bone. And we've got a competition. It is... Well, rather than tell you what the prize is, we're looking for someone to send us some interesting beer trivia.
And there's some active watching going on here, so I think that's also a great platform to go.
So we've got Facebook. So if you want to log into Facebook and watch us live, you can do that, or you can send us a tweet. So you can make sure you just tag us either Two Oceans Vibe FM, #Beer Time, or Little Wolf Beer.
Correct.
Steph, what are you giving away? The prize is for someone who comes up with the most original beer
that's an
facts.
interesting question. Something we're like, oh, that's a flipping cool question. If we know the answer or not, doesn't really matter. It's just if it's a cool question.
I think it matters.
This is delicious. This is so good.
So I'm not giving that away. I'm giving away a bottle of Passiflora, which is a barrel-aged sour beer with passion fruit. Hopefully going to be... So it's in bottle. It's hopefully carbonated. We're going to find out just now about that. Just waiting for labels, and as soon as that's ready, I'll send the winning...
So that's the prize, and we will give it out. If no one comes up with a good enough question, then I suppose we can just maybe
drink it.
Do you have it here?
We're going to...
I've got a bottle without the label, which we will drink.
Yes.
But then,
yes, we will.
That's coming. Okay, so back to this beer. Just remind the people what we're drinking.
So it's
and the host.
It's a collab with Fierce Beer from Scotland. It's a double IPA with corn in it to give it this really nice kind of light mouthfeel. But then to give it a bit of a South African twist, I harvested some local botanicals from mine and other people's gardens, and then I made these tinctures. So basically you take the fynbos, put it in alcohol, it extracts all the aromas, all the aromatic oils, and then I kind of dosed that into the beer.
Can you just break that down? You get like what, 500 ml of vodka or what?
So I actually did about 10 liters of a...
I'm not doing little homebrew.
Yeah, it's a 1,500 liter batch, so you need a bit more. I had actually a batch of beer that was oxidized, which I got distilled, and then I've got that alcohol. It was diluted down to 50% alcohol.
Nice. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to it, which is very nice. Yeah.
And then basically I put up these 5-liter flasks, and then I packed them full of the botanicals. So one of them is a Citronella pelargonium, which gives you this really kind of light, lemony citronella character, and that's kind of the one I focused on the most. Then the other one's called Cape May or Confetti Bush.
Hey.
And that's also got this really kind of nice piney citrus character. And then the last one is this wild rosemary, which gives this kind of real kind of basil, kind of herbal character. And then so once I've made those tinctures, I could dose them into the beer to kind of get the levels I want. And then with this one, I took
tinctures,
yeah, so the alcoholic extractions of the aromatic oils. And then with this one, I put 400 ml of the beer in the bottle, added the tinctures to the ratio, which I've been figuring out, and then put that carbonation cap on, this little guy. Can add CO2 just to give it a bit of carbonation, just to see how that kind of plays with it. What do you guys think?
Do you...
I want to know how it's going to change. From what you think how it's going to change?
Well, I've got a question as well. You go first. You answer that first. Sorry, my brain. It's gonna leave very soon out of my brain.
So it's basically 9% ABV.
Okay.
Which I think also gives you some of that.
Yeah, you can feel
it's
feel
very
the
chewy. It's very
which is actually a lot from the alcohol, I think. So the grain bill is very light. It's base malt, a bit of wheat,
corn,
bit of oats, and flake corn. Yeah, that's it. Done.
I get a very nice. It's like incredible lemon drop, like those lemon cream biscuits.
Yeah,
it's like sucking on a biscuit. Lemon cream biscuits.
I get the pawpaw. I get the melon.
You're a bloody pawpaw.
No, sorry, not pawpaw. Not pawpaw. Melon.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So I mean, the base hops we tried to use were kind of focusing on that citrus character because we knew the main aroma we wanted to go for from the Fynbos is that Citronella pelargonium, which gives you that kind of lemon cream. Or if you remember the sparkles as a kid, those little kind of sweets, you get the lemon one.
The lemon one, yeah.
It's kind of got that real
spot. It
does have that leafy
herbal.
It's like you. I don't know, like maybe when you used to chew on plants when you were a kid. But
so I think I skipped that stage in my life.
You missed out. Going back to your question on how I think it'll change, so I think obviously it needs a bit more carbonation. So the carbonation will give it a bit of acidity, which will kind of clean off the end of the palate a little bit. It'll also bump up the aroma quite a bit. Obviously, when all those bubbles are bursting on the surface, it'll kind of launch all those aromatics into your nose nicely. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much going to be it. So yeah, I think as a 9% double IPA, again, going very much for the flavor, aroma of the hops. Bitterness is fairly subdued. You get a lot of the alcohol sweetness and a little bit of that kind of alcohol drying, so even though it's not that bitter, it's still not cloying or anything like that.
So is this the one that's going to be specially packaged?
Yeah, so we're going to put this in cans. I'm going to get busy working on some new can artwork. It's going to be our first beer in cans, which I'm super stoked about.
How many cans?
We're not sure. So it's about 1,300 liters. We haven't figured out how much.
And that's it.
That's it. Done. Gone. Not sure how much we're going to do in keg versus can. I haven't figured that out yet.
And is this also going over?
I'll send them some cans, but they haven't. But no, it's for this.
They'll get a 6-pack.
Market. Yeah, they'll get a 6-pack.
So Shay's just said, sorry, off the topic. So the best question wins.
Yeah, most interesting question.
Most interesting, not best. Most interesting.
Yeah.
Or
we like it.
Or clever, or interesting.
No, just the one we like the most. Yeah.
Yeah, the one we like the most.
Done.
Does it have to be beer related?
Yes.
The 1795 Armada.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
No, this is very exciting. I mean, just from tasting it now, I'm excited to see what it's going to be. I mean, just imagine 9%.
Yeah, it's like 8.8, 8.9.
Crack and open a can, and it's just 8.8%. You just pour it, and it's just going to be that heavy, just everything, hoppy notes, everything just smashing you. And I'm very excited.
Cool, me too.
Are you happy?
I'm super stoked, and I'm really, really happy.
Do you howl when you're happy?
Oh, not so much.
I've got a question. I want to know with your so you know your percentages of your botanicals and your tinctures and everything that you're putting into your little 5-liter batches. Do those ratios stay the same, scaling up?
Yeah, so because I'm putting it in after fermentation, kind of just adding it as almost like a flavorant,
Okay,
you
yeah,
can kind
then
of,
it does, yeah.
then it's kind of very linear, which is like a...
Okay,
yeah.
I'm just trying to...
I'd really like to work with this, especially with the geraniums and some of the other local botanicals early on in fermentation, because they have a lot of the same oils that hops have, and hops oils kind of go through these, they're called biotransformations during fermentation. So it'd be really interesting to see how that works with getting those same oils but from different sources. Like I know when they were trying to recreate, I think it was Citra or Amarillo, they coriander has a lot of the same oils, and they did a beer that was only done with coriander to kind of create the same oil profile as you get from Citra. I mean, it definitely had characters that weren't meant to be there, but it definitely had some resemblance to Citra.
Very Asian type of character.
I should have actually bought you some of my Num Num beer.
Oh,
The one that we made with Greg Carl and Ross.
Cartos.
Cartos. That was sort of Num Nums, or those berries that you find down west in waterfronts. Surprisingly, there's a whole bunch of bushes there. We just
No, shut up.
promise
Yeah.
you get onto the waterfronts.
Are you sure they were num-nums? You started eating those, you start seeing some num-nums.
Believe it or not, the plant is poisonous.
The
But
berries.
the berry is fine to eat. So that's where you
And they
gotta
grow everywhere. Like
make sure you do your research. And I'm still here at some
Who
point.
eats like, what, do you just suck on a leaf and it's going to be bad for you?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness that's
Goodness,
not
I haven't
that's
sucked
socially-
on a
on that leaf.
leaf lately.
Thank goodness that's socially unacceptable. So we made like a reduction in the fruits, and we added different types of berries to help it make it was very tart
they
and
are
bitter.
super tart. Yeah,
But yeah, it came out deliciously.
and they've got this very kind of dry, tannic kind of character to them. Yeah.
Do you think that's where South African beer is hiding? If you look at, I've been doing some research on the flora and fauna of South Africa, and we've got, I think, one of the most diverse floral kingdoms in the world.
The most diverse.
The most, yeah. There's obviously like something hiding there, whether it's a root, a leaf, a berry.
Yeah, I think a lot of craft breweries, and I think it makes sense if you kind of go through your brewing trajectory, is you first start off brewing beers that you've had and and you kind of need to do that to be able to kind of dial in your brewing process and know that what you brew is not a fluke, it's actually because you tried to get there. And then I think we're getting to the stage where breweries are starting to experiment a bit, and I think there aren't very many breweries who are kind of showcasing their South Africanness, kind of having these kind of like whatever the South African style, or some showcasing some South African aspect to their beers. I think it'll come as we get more confident in our brewing, and as we get more confident in our consumer, that they'll buy these things and kind of try them out. And it all takes a lot of trial and error, but I think 2018 is going to be really interesting in terms of breweries are starting to experiment and bring out different beers, not just the same kind of styles, because we've got lots of breweries, but everyone's brewing the same stuff, and I think that diversity is going to start happening. Well, I hope it is. And then I think the next step, and also while that's happening, is kind of trying to like showcase something local, do something interesting.
We just got a question from Rolly, Beer Geek. I think it's towards you. Is there any beer styles that you are looking at bringing back? Some old forgotten beer styles that you've thought about bringing back that you want
Very
to?
good question.
Very good question. I mean, I haven't...
Question. Well, that's the number one in, so far.
I don't think there's anything that I do like exploring old beer styles. So for Festival Beer, I did a Grodziski, which is a Polish style of beer, which almost went extinct. This kind of smoked, 100% oak smoked wheat beer, which was super interesting. I'm not sure I'll drink very much of it, but it was just really cool exploring that. I think proper Gozes and Berliner Weisses also like so I've been chatting to some brewers in Germany who are brewing Berliner Weisses, but kind of going quite far back and trying to get the real roots out of Berliner
Proper
Weisses.
tradition.
If we look at the ancient brewing techniques, you can only imagine that the beer back in the day was really shit.
Yeah, so not going that far back. So maybe going back. So I think Berliner Weiss used to be super popular. Then, like a lot of beers, as lagers became super popular, they died out, and then there was only one brewery left brewing Berliner Weiss, and now they've kind of had a bit of a renaissance. But a lot of them are in the style of that one brewery that was left, and that Berliner Weiss they've kind of figured out was not necessarily representative of what else was brewed. So that Berliner Weiss was pretty much like a kettle soured wheat beer, which is what a lot of people understand as a Berliner Weiss. Whereas actually Berliner Weiss should have Brett character, should be a bit longer aged. And some people have been getting old bottles of Berliner Weiss, 60-year-old bottles of Berliner Weiss, and culturing beer, culturing yeasts and bacteria and stuff from those and trying to recreate those old styles. And I've been in contact with a guy in Germany who's a part of that project, and I've got some cultures on the way. They're busy flying.
Fantastic.
That is exciting.
And I think that'll be super cool. And what I'm also, like I said, I want to brew that and kind of try and dial that beer in and get it to where I think it's supposed to be. But then see where I can take it. So try and take it into a unique direction. So another beer we'll try just now is like a Goza style beer that I brewed with Black Eagle end of 2016. And that, I think we did a pretty good job with that one, and which is one of the reasons I brought it with. But I'd like to take that style, which I really like, and then kind of give it a local twist. So it's got a lot of wheat in it, so cool. Instead of using wheat, let's maybe use a bit of sorghum. And it's got coriander and salt in it. So obviously salt you can do some kind of local sourcing, but cool, like coriander, not really a South African thing in terms of biltong, but not in terms of where it's grown and stuff. So try and find something else to kind of play off that character. So coriander in beer actually gives you quite a citrusy character. It's cool, maybe I can find a Fynbos that has that kind of citrusy character to kind of give you the same notes and the same balance and the same profile, but kind of showcasing local.
But it's a great it's a great characteristic, like skill for you to have. When you talk about the sourcing local stuff and like things people can do using local, it's quite hard if you don't have this. Like you can only go so far unless you have the botanical experience that you've got. So. You can do your research. Yeah, you can, and the industry's open enough that I know if I chat to you, you'll be able to give me some insight. But I would never have known that coriander has a citra similarity.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's also where these things. So that was
it's pretty common knowledge.
I thought it was more yellow sub character, but.
That was actually from Beer Bootcamp last year, Stan Aronimus, and he did a hop talk, and that's where that came out.
Another question.
Yes.
Shay has asked, as local brewers, what top 3 craft beer trends do you predict for 2018 in Cape Town?
Let's come back to that.
Yeah, just wanted to get it out there.
No, we've got some other good questions coming through, so this is good that we're getting people.
I've got one as well.
You've got one to ask us.
Rolly, I had a laugh at Rolly's. Did you see it? His tweet.
I didn't see it. No, I'll scroll up.
Well done, Rolly. I enjoyed that.
You had a good chuckle.
Yeah.
We'll mention it now. Hello, everyone again listening. This is Tertian's Vibe Radio. Hashtag beer time.
Just throwing 9% back like it's water.
Yeah, that's the corn. It gives this really kind of light, luscious, And it's what's quite cool. I actually found a company out between Stellenbosch and Durangon that makes horse feed.
Yes.
And they actually take corn and they make flake corn on site. So I went there and bought the corn and we chucked in the beer, which is also pretty cool.
That's nice.
Cool.
That.
Love that story. If there's a story behind it, hey, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the other day, imagine, when you think of corn and rice, it's just cheap. You think cheap adjuncts for the big guys.
Yeah.
But if you can take that and totally flip it on its head, whammy.
Yeah, this beer is definitely not going to be cheap.
Yes.
I've got so much to talk about.
So much going on.
Let's crack open this next one. It's a virgin cider, 0% alcohol. 0.05 or 0.000?
0. No fermentation, so it's not. Yeah.
No fermentation. Right. I've got a question for you that I get asked all the time, or I see people asking other people. Why on earth would you make an alcohol-free beer or cider?
So, a lot of people want to go out and drink something that tastes delicious, isn't super sweet, but isn't Coke or water, anything like that. You might be being responsible and not drinking and driving, so have a beer, but then you want to have something after your beer, which isn't alcoholic. You still want something that's lacquer. You have a virgin cider. You may be pregnant. None of us will be pregnant, but other people might be pregnant.
After my season of summer, Jesus, smash that turkey.
Food, baby. Or yeah, I mean, just sometimes you want something super refreshing and light that isn't alcoholic.
I'm totally on board with the whole non-alcoholic beer. I think it's a great idea. I think we need to change the perception of beer in this country, and anything that can get people to ask questions about why this, how come, and having an alcohol-free beer. I mean, there was that whole Castle 0% beer, and people thinking, why am I going to drink this? And that's exactly it. They're going to ask questions.
Yeah.
And it is that thing. Like, if you don't always have to get pissed to have a good time. So
I think it's amazing just having options out there. I think it's fantastic because I think drink driving is a huge fucking problem.
Yeah.
Something I try to be as responsible as possible with. Well, today might not be so easy. And yeah, I think just having options out there.
We on the show we make sure our guests get home safely, even if it's an Uber. That's the show pays for.
I cycle here.
So yeah, this virgin cider, so it's apple juice from Elgin. I water it down slightly because apple juice can be pretty sweet by itself. Add a bit of citric acid again to kind of counteract that sweetness, and then I dry hop it with Citra. Carbonate it, chuck it in a bottle, and put it in your face.
Let's have a look at that label. Put them side by side.
Yeah.
Are they the same?
So
just
it's
different colors.
Same background image, but different kind of color wash over it. Yeah. So the hoppy wheat is the original color wash of that background image. Then the virgin cider is obviously like a kind of a greenish tinge.
They're great. They look great together. Good mates.
This is You could pass this off as a normal.
Yeah.
cider.
So it's got a bit of sweetness. It's very hard to make something non-alcoholic without a bit of sweetness. Otherwise, it just tastes watery. But it's got a nice kind of acidic finish, which makes it nice and fresh. That over ice on a hot day.
Yeah.
Super good, super refreshing. It
Troy's just hydrated himself.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
I thought after a 9% beer, it might be a good segue into the rest of the show.
I remember chatting to Jens 2-3 years ago, and he was tackling the Middle East markets. His argument or his observation was that you would go into these 5-star hotels or restaurants, people would be ordering the 7-course meal, but because it's in the Middle East, they couldn't drink any alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
So what would they get? They'd be brought this bright orange Fanta can to the table.
But you can in hotels though, can't you?
This-
Doesn't matter. Sidebar. Yeah.
Sidebar,
Carry on.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
So this was his
Yeah.
observation. And so he started to bring out essentially a sparkling grape juice or sparkling apple juice, similar to appetizer or whatever, and he just rebranded it, put it in a very nice glass, and that's the market he tried to go for. I haven't heard from him since, but I think you
should fly to Dubai.
but there is a hidden market there, and
Yeah, and I think so. I listened to a podcast again with Holger Meyer. He interviewed the guys from Duchess who are down the hall. Yeah, I just noticed on the way in.
Yes.
And it's a huge trend overseas. This kind of premium non-alcoholic adult beverages, as they call it. And yeah, I mean, I think so. This beverage actually used to be my hopped apple soda. And it was something that I came up with when I was at the co-op, kind of did a first batch. I was like, well, that tastes pretty good. Then I started kind of releasing it. And it's, since day one, it's been my second best selling product.
Speaking of overseas trends, my mom's got a friend of a friend who started the first non-alcoholic pop-up bar in London. Because, as you said, it's quite the rage now.
Yeah.
Because people want to go out. Whether it's a millennial thing or what, but people want to go out and be able to wake up the next morning and go to spinning or not feel awful.
Go to Pilates.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Sure. I'm done. Well, upset.
Should we get back into Shay's question? Just because we did announce it earlier, we can't just leave it.
We did announce it. Let's go. We said we would.
What top 3 craft beer trends do we predict for 2018 in Cape Town?
Should we go around the circle?
Do you want to go first?
I'm going to go first to say the number 1 trend is an increase in quality.
Increase in quality. That's
Got to have to be.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be from
Elaborate
where we
a
ended
bit.
off last year. everything's going up. Everything's pointing up, which means also the consumer's knowledge is going up. Hopefully, that's what all the, I think everyone who produces it.
Quality on both sides, so kind of the consumer realizes what quality is, and then brewers also focusing on
Yeah.
I think if we look back at 2017, 16, and in previous years, there were maybe a handful of breweries in South Africa that were kind of not being held back, but they were kind of dragging, trying to pull the rest of the craft beer community with them. I think now it's going to be a bit more of a movement, a wave that's going to come with them. So
they've kind of caught up, and now they're pushing together. Kind of.
You know, the whole tide is going to rise, and when that does, all the boats start to float. I think I'm trying to quote.
I've heard it before.
I'm trying to quote the biggest brewery in America, Sam Adams. What's the owner?
Greg Cook.
It's not Greg Cook.
Sam Adams, yeah.
Is it?
Well, it's spelled Koch, but he's pronounced it.
Yes.
Yes. Koch. Yes.
I think that's the problem. That's
Yes.
why it says Cook.
Damn him.
Your biggest
Trends, I think.
You can just say. I mean, you did one. I'll do one.
Yeah, I think related to quality is packaging. I think breweries are going to start focusing on packaging properly. They have to kind of help with the quality thing.
Yeah.
I suppose that could also
It's tough though.
bounce off,
Packaging is very tough.
Canning. We might see more cans.
Yeah, and packaging is so flipping tough, and that's it almost sunk me as a little brewery. I couldn't.
Yeah. But having said that, there are, I don't know how common knowledge it is, but there are some potential packaging things in the near future. I think.
Mobile
I don't know how
packaging.
much I can say,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to say anything more. But I think packaging is going to be something. I agree with that.
Yeah.
T-Bone, spotlight, go.
3, 2, 1.
One of the top 3 things that I'll see happen in 2018 within the craft beer movements is stronger emphasis on beer fans. So there are going to be more people doing things like maybe I'm doing podcasts, more videos, more tweets, more Instagrams. There's going to be a more collection around that, and I think that's quite exciting because when you start getting people doing that and who know what they're doing, and then even more excited when you start getting people who are getting paid to do that, then you know there's something happening there.
Yeah.
There's movement, there's a market.
Yeah. Very, very, very true.
So
I definitely noticed that last year. So
in the end of last year, we've had a few more people join in the, if I can say, the beer nerds circle.
There used to be a few voices, and now there are a few more voices.
Yeah.
Twitter's always been
great.
very difficult to try and get some traction. I know, just in the States, it's just like that's what they do. That's their program that they use, and it's always been the complaint in South Africa. Just never mind the beer circle, but it's it's very hard to get some interaction with people out there. But I think bigger beer brands will start to notice that and maybe put more emphasis in the social media side of their marketing.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's been really refreshing having.
So keep it up,
some more
people.
voices.
If you're listening,
You're
you're one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the beer video reviews and people commenting and people being involved, and it's cool because there's definitely people who have knowledge that have come out of the woodwork, which is super refreshing, and I'm loving it. Yeah.
And I think
It's very nice.
With that, we're going to get more collabs just on the social media side, and with that, bigger things are going to jump in. More brands are going to pump money into stuff.
Bring
It's going to be very
people in,
exciting. So, guys, hold the line. Right,
Keep fighting the good fight. Everyone makes a difference.
Mr. Stefan.
Next on the list.
Stefan.
Yeah.
Stefan. What did they call you in Canada when you were there?
Same. Steph.
Bang.
I didn't have a Canadian name.
Oh, great.
Oot in a boot.
Yeah. Okay, what are we drinking now?
So next on the list, since we've gone from the Virgin cider, we'll go to the.
We're all old boys, you know that.
We are.
As in bishops.
Yeah. Dun, dun.
All right,
So we got this hibiscus cider. So again, this is another old recipe of mine.
Oh, sure. What the hell?
It's fairly dry base cider, which I flavor with hibiscus tea. So hibiscus gives it this really kind of nice tannin structure.
Hibiscus, just explain to the people what the hibiscus plant looks like, because I had to Google it.
If you go, best would be to Google it, and once you see it, you'll recognize it. It's this kind of big, open, beautiful flower, often in white or pink. And then in South America, it's a very popular tea. So you basically just take the flower, dry it, put it in boiling water, and it gives you this very kind of tart berry character and a bit of tannin. And then when I was making cider, so in South Africa you don't get cider apples, you just get kind of table apples. Cider apples are super tannic, super tart, have all these kind of complex sugars and stuff, so you'd never eat it. But when you make cider out of it, a lot of those characters carry across into the cider and give you beautiful character in the finished product. So when you make cider with just table apples, there's pretty much only simple sugar in there, so when it ferments out, there's not much left. So to kind of give it character, I was drinking a cup of hibiscus tea, and I was like, this would really help kind of lift those characters which are missing from the table apple. So it gives you tannin, which gives you mouthfeel. It gives you tartness, which kind of gives it a nice clean finish, and it gives you this kind of berry character, which helps kind of uplift the apple character of the cider. So again, this over ice on a hot day is fantastic. If I do say so myself.
You are allowed to. You can say so.
It's amazing how, the whole thing about picking up flavors in beer, one of the things is relating it to a childhood memory.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, if it was at school, but I think we had a lot of hibiscus plants. And there were games you would play, like you peel it back,
you make the
squeeze
thing.
out the thing, and then maybe if you're interested, you'd chew it. Oh, no one was looking.
There's been a lot of plant eating in this episode today.
Oh, that makes two of us. Yeah.
Sorry for you.
Yeah.
I used to just eat berries on the side of the cricket field.
Really?
Throw them at the guy fielding next to me. Those berries that stain.
Yeah.
And you're in all white. It was always classic. Yeah, you throw stingers at the oak next to you and just...
I want to make a beer out of those too.
Full of red.
So you should make a little beer. Mary Stinger.
Oh, yeah, a little berry beer.
So I'm getting transported back to my youth.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing about flavors and aromas. They definitely do trigger memories.
What's the percentage on this?
6 of the finest. It's sneaky, hey? This will sneak up on you and kick you straight in the balls.
No, it is. You don't think it's going to be...
So it's super refreshing, and as you say, just a couple blocks of ice on a hot day.
Especially after having the virgin cider. You think,
Smash it back.
Yeah, the virgin cider, it's like one of those things that it's good enough that if you drink it, you could think, like, placebo effects could kick in, and you could be like, am I a little bit pissed?
Easily.
I felt super dangerous, like... I was also
drinking
quite a
too
bit,
quickly,
and I had drank it quite fast, and I was like, "Got to be careful here, Murray."
Don't do what T-Bone did. Let's go to a quick question on the Twitter sphere. This is from Curtis Murray. I'm not going to ask Steph. I'm going to ask Murray. Who gave hops their name?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know? That's fantastic. If you didn't, I would have just taken that botanical degree and just kicked it out the window.
I do know that it means little wolf.
Yes.
And that's the whole story behind
That's the important
Well,
part.
you literally just told me the story. I clearly wasn't listening.
Well, I didn't say who named it, so that's fine. You got off the hook there.
It wasn't Stan.
No, he wasn't alive.
He wasn't alive. Wait, hold on.
This is a lot much longer ago than Stan.
Yes, it was...
It's a famous hoppy American beer. Like, it's been voted the best IPA.
Pliny. That's the one.
It's the one.
Pliny
the Elder.
It's a good question. That's a very good question.
Okay, so thank you, Curtis. Next one is from Mr. Beer Pants. Trivia. What is the clarifying agent isinglass made out of?
Isinglass. Do you guys know?
I do know.
Seaweed?
It's that's what's seaweed's made out of. What's the one that you buy at?
Yeah.
The one that you buy at
Yeah.
at the homebrew shops.
I'm trying to think, because there's a couple.
I don't-
Irish moss.
Irish moss,
is
yeah.
seaweed.
That's seaweed.
Is it like... I don't know. I do know it, but I don't know it.
It's fish.
Oh,
Fish glands.
Yeah.
Bladder. What is it? Fish.
Some Fish organ.
Fish
I'm
guts.
not
Organ,
sure exactly
yeah.
what the organ is.
Okay,
but
thank you, Mr. Beer Pits.
Yeah, it's a goodie.
Rolly the beer. Yeah, Rolly. What is okay, Rolly's just been eliminated. I just read his tweets. Rolly says
I'll
to
read
Metal Lane, "I love your show and listen often. Very nice of you to keep having Beer Time on the show." Well, look how quickly we can delete people on Twitter.
Unfollow.
Rolly will not be winning a bottle of.
Can I jump in with one here from Russell Nordier?
Yes, please go.
What is the most difficult part of brewing, i.e., the mash, fermentation, bottling, selling? I think Steph and I would both say the bottling, packaging. Selling's tough, but I think the bottling and the packaging is
Well,
a different.
let's keep it down to the brewing part within the brewery.
Within the brewery.
Let's keep it within because obviously sales and marketing
Yeah.
is a whole new level.
Well,
Profession, yeah.
I'd say fermentation then, and your actual yeast management. It's a very it's the most, in my opinion, the most scientific part of the brewing process.
Steph?
Yeah, I think, that's, to me, the most difficult is packaging unless you have good packaging equipment. Then it becomes very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it just does it.
Does itself.
Then it works.
But I think that's something that a lot of breweries fall short on, and I think it's a huge problem in South Africa, especially with hoppy beers. Like, were you there judging the IPA category of the South African National Beer
yes,
Trophy?
yes.
And just everything was oxidized because of poor packaging, and it's
But it's not the brewery's fault. It's what they can afford.
But then, I mean, I think that's why a lot of breweries need to focus a lot more on on-premise sales. So have tap rooms. Don't open a little, which is what I did, which was a mistake, and luckily I kind of got through it. Open a little 300-liter packaging brewery. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't package and distribute small volumes. If you're going to go small volumes, sell
On site.
on site as much as you can, and grow that as much as you can on site. So obviously you don't have to worry about transporting. Your margins are amazing. You can sell it how you want to sell it.
Yeah.
You know it's fresh. You know it's being served properly. You know it's in the right glassware. You can tell the story. You can describe the beer. You can experiment. You can do everything.
You're building your hardcore
fans,
tight fans.
Yeah.
And everything there's a lot more you can control.
Yeah. And then once
hands
you
on the
know
list.
you've got the markets to afford proper packaging, then you do proper packaging.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Rory's doing. He's been packaging and stuff, and he's just
Rory from Ager.
You
From
kick
Ager
that
Project.
bucket. He said no more.
He's like, this, I can't, on my scale, it's not working, so I'm going to kind of go back and focus on so he's opening a new tap room in Constantia, and he's got his tap room in Komaki, and he's going to focus on that and have on sale.
Great idea.
That's the way it should be. And
I like Rory's purist approach to everything he does.
Quality,
Super pure.
I like Rory too, and you know what?
Quality
He's
Uber
going to be
Alles.
on the show soon, so that's good.
He should be. And I think a lot of breweries don't focus on that. They're like, cool, I'm going to open this little brewery out in the middle of nowhere and just send my beer everywhere, and it unfortunately doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think my one part as a home brewer, the difficult part about brewing, cleaning, especially if you're on your own.
Yeah.
You've got to clean your equipment, and you have to after every brew. And then secondly, just bottling. When it comes to bottling, that's just that's awful when you've got one machine. And as you said, if you've got a proper multi bottling line or canning line, it makes life a lot easier. Or just staff. So that was a cool question. Any other questions that you got there, Mazza?
James Williams, with less than a month to go until SA National Beer Day, what have you three gentlemen got planned? I think there's so much going on. I think things are being thrown left, right, and centre. I know Beer House is hosting a number of Meet the Brewers and tasting events and this and that.
Yeah,
and
we've
that's
both been invited to that. Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday, 3rd and the 4th. So I'll be there for both those days. But other than that, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be jumping in between things. What else is going to be going on?
So they just updated and launched their website today, I
First
think.
Friday of February, hey?
The 3rd of Feb, I think.
3rd, it's Saturday and Sunday. 3rd and 4th. I think the 3rd is the actual day, and then the 4th, Beer
some
House
stuff
is hosting
going on.
another thing. So it's like a extension of it.
So I'd suggest everyone to, I don't have the website offhand, but look it up, and then they've got maps. They've got a map with all the events, and you can kind of look up and find whatever's close to you. But I'm also going to probably be at Beer House. I'm not sure if our buddies at Devil's Peak of what they've got planned and what that's going to involve.
I'm sure they've got something planned.
Yeah,
Something
I'll probably
fantastic, no doubt.
it's kind of bouncing between those two, I imagine. And yourself, T-Bone?
Well, I just realized that I might be out of town for that weekend. A much deserved break, but we'll see.
Yes.
Yes.
After the current break that we just got back.
January's been a
I need
hectic
a
month.
holiday.
Yeah.
No, I've actually got a busy month. I'm studying for my tour guide exam, which is next week. So there'll
Good
be
luck.
There'll be no show on next week, 16th, which is very unfortunate because I know that's Meet the Brewers. The Fullers guys are in town, and that's at Beer House. I can't go to this. I've literally got my practical in the morning and then my 3-hour exam in the evening. So that's
Sounds quite hectic.
so. If people want to get hold of me in the next week, do not.
Good luck,
My
T-Bone.
phone is off. And then, excuse me.
Fresh.
That's what the microphone's for.
And then,
It's not the fluffy things.
and then, then end of the month we've got our first craft beer association meeting, and that's something I need to prepare for because there's a lot that needs to get done.
First port of call, add me to the mailing list because I'm not on it. Spoke to...
Send him an email.
I'll talk to you off air.
Cool.
Guys,
Should we
we've
play
got
some funky music.
Wait,
white boy?
let's play some funky music because I think we might just need to take a break. We've been speaking for an hour. Now
quickly.
it does go quickly. Hey, you've given us some songs. I want to just find out a song that we can play that I think everyone would hold on.
Segue nicely here, T-Bone.
Segue. I'm going to.
What I want to know
one are you
is,
playing?
does the live chat continue
It does.
Yes.
while...
And they can hear us, but not that.
Yes, but do we carry on our off-air chat, which is normally should not ever be heard on air?
Just they all understand. They all hear us.
So for people listening on radio, good for you. We will see you in 10 minutes. We'll see you in 5 to 10. We'll play 2 songs and we'll see you in a short while. So hang tight. Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Oh, yeah. Listen to the sultry tunes coming to you live. Torsion's Vibe Radio. Tuesday, 17 minutes past? Yeah, let's go for 17 minutes
I was like,
past.
it's the 9th, not the 17th.
17 minutes past 1 o'clock. You are listening to #Beer Time, the show about beer, all things beer, anything beer. We talk about it. Do we talk about other stuff? Yes, we kind of get sidetracked.
Dabble here and there.
But it all comes together with a beer.
You're allowed to say that.
I'm allowed to say that. We've got Murray Middleton from Metal Lane in the studio, co-host of the show.
Jeez.
Just been promoted today.
Yeah, my pay has also gone up from
Yes.
the
You
Beer
must-
Time radio show.
Please, you must speak to Trish in the front about your paycheck.
Okay.
0 times infinity is still 0.
And then we have Minia Stefan from Little Wolf. Oh. Good to have you. Let's turn off the music in the background.
No. We need a little bit of a power backing track just while we get into cracking the next beer. That's what I think. As co-host, I'm going to have my say.
Ladies and gentlemen, the co-host once
Spoken.
I'm trying to think of that other song that you gave. It was... I'm going to look for it. Here we go. Okay, we'll play this in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, wait for it. Mr. Stefan, what have you brought us here?
So that beer has traveled a very long way. So it's from Prairie Artisan Ales in the States, which I've heard a lot of, and I've never tried any of their beers.
Ooh.
But when I was in Thailand in March last year, I bought that beer.
So it has traveled.
It has
I was
traveled.
like, it's from the States.
From States to Thailand to Cape Town to my fridge, where it's been sitting for a little while. And yeah, I thought this was a good opportunity to crack it open and give it a try with you guys.
Made
Thank you.
by people who truly care from Oklahoma with love. 4%. Bira, Farmhouse Ale.
So yeah, this is starting beginning of the show we had hoppy beers, ciders. Now we're moving on to a bit of funk, a bit of sour, a bit of saison.
Well, thank you very much for traveling with us, for packing it in your suitcase. I know how strenuous and
feels.
difficult it can be.
Yeah, so saisons can be beautiful beers. I drank a lot of them when I was over the seas. And yeah, this is a brewery I've heard a lot.
Got a bit of got a farmhouse stench.
Ooh,
I'm going to let it just warm up a bit.
Warm up a touch.
that's very nice.
It's got quite a bit of like
Straight in there, hey?
Yeah, no, I had a good couple smells, but now I decided no more smelly.
Quite a
more
bit of that
drinky.
kind of like noble hop kind of character, surprisingly, since it's, I wonder if they've got a packaging date on there. It's probably been a while.
Do you guys ever get like,
So I think there was no cold chain in Thailand.
besides,
I wouldn't be, no, they're actually surprising. I was very surprised by the craft beer bars and stuff in Thailand.
Really?
They're awesome. Yeah.
do you guys get a bit of funky shoe soul? Like
In
leather?
a shoe sole.
In a shoe sole. You know when you're in school and you used to sniff your shoes after eating the leaves and the berries?
Which shoes? Your rugby boots or your...
No, your school shoes. I'm
Yeah,
getting...
it's delicious. Like it's got that dryness. It's got that kind of beautiful saison character, but
Yeah.
it's not like overpoweringly. Like I find a lot of the kind of saisons that's kind of spicy. It's just too much. Like you can't drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
This, I can
would-
imagine drinking.
I would say
buckets
it's
loads
too
of it.
cold to drink right now.
Yeah.
I
My
really,
little cooler box is pretty frosty.
Yeah, you've got a very nice cooler box, but I think this beer is maybe been served a little bit
Very
too cold.
crisp.
Yeah. So it's got that noble hop crispness.
Okay, let me try and get married.
5665.
I'm very happy with this. I think that's definitely a style of beer I've missed in South Africa. I tried to brew a saison for a while. I could never crack it. It's a very hard. I think it's very difficult to
It'll
come.
still be good, but if you're a purist, you don't want to take... I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It would have been good, but you up to your standards, it wasn't quite...
Yeah, it was fine, and people. But to me, it just didn't have that character. Like I don't know what it is. I can't. It's a style that eludes me, and it's something I'll keep on trying. It's definitely my whale.
I think that's
nice.
it's also a style that's very
Underappreciated.
underappreciated,
underrated.
underrepresented.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Underbrewed.
Underassumed. No, it really is. It's maybe it isn't made correctly in South Africa, or there's.
Yeah, I mean, I think that another thing about saison is it's a very wide style, so there's loads of interpretation involved. But there were certain saisons when I was in Canada that I used to drink fairly often, and I used to love them. And I just haven't been able to brew or find one locally which hits that same spot, where it's got that kind of yeast character, but it's still super refreshing, super light. I find all of them somehow just aren't as drinkable as they could be. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's quite a lot to do with the yeast expression. And because, even the one I brewed, I got it super dry, and then I put Brett in it, and it's even drier, but it still just didn't have that kind of refreshing, super drinkable. I just couldn't nail it. Whereas this one, this is delicious.
This is, as you say, super potable. You can just smash a couple of these. It's not overpowering in farmhousiness. It's there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that classic kind of saison character. Those kind of esters and phenols and stuff are all there. It's got the bit of the spiciness, a bit of the kind of candy floss character, a bit of the kind of that sweet fruity character, but it's all balanced, not overpowering, and then it's got that noble hop character, which gives it a nice clean finish, herbal, and delicious.
Okay, I've tried to join you to the network. I can't.
T-bone.
I'm failing.
Fail.
I'm sorry.
I think being 4% also helps. Makes it quite nice and light, but it's got a lot more body than a 4%.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel 4%. It feels more to me.
I think a beer like this is maybe not ready for South Africa because it is a low 4%. It looks like a lager. It looks like you're going to be drinking lager. And I think if you gave it to someone and said, "Oh, just try this beer. It's a farmhouse ale," I think you're going to scare a lot of people off.
I think there are enough people who would enjoy it.
Sure, but what I'm trying to say is that they're more, they're more other styles out there that are more
kick your foot off.
Are more
approachable.
They're more recognizable in terms of what the ingredients are. And I think just with the farmhouse ale, I've got nothing against farmhouse ales. It's just that
it's not one of the trends we're going to see for 2018.
I don't think so.
Basically what you're saying.
You heard it here on #BeerStuff.
Yeah, I mean, I also think there's definitely something towards giving the consumer a bit more credit. Because I think a lot of brewers fall into that trap, oh no, South African consumer's not ready, I'm going to just brew the same thing everyone else brews.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you actually go out there and say, cool, I'm actually going to brew something different, I've had so many people who've never even heard of a sour beer before, and people are like, oh, sour beers, South Africa's never ready, da, da, da. People are like, oh my God, this is amazing, I love it. I have no idea what you're talking about, but the flavor profile works for me. And
that exact thing happened to me at the Cape Town Festival of Beers. I had a whole bunch of mates come, and I said, you've got to try some of the sours. And they were like, what? I don't want a sour beer. They're like, it sounds terrible. Yeah. And at the first time I heard about a sour beer, I was also like I've tasted an unintentionally sour before. If it's anything like that, I don't want it. So as soon as you know it's sour and it's balanced sour, throw it at me. Give me some of it.
Let's go straight into our next beer. We've got 3 more beers to get through. Again, thank you very much, Steph, for bringing the Prairie Artisan Ales.
Yeah, happy to share it with you. And talking about sours, now we're going to move on to the sours.
I like that we've got a bit of a theme here. Prairie, isn't that where wolves hang out?
Possibly. Prairie dogs.
Prairie dogs.
Not quite the same thing.
I don't think so.
Well,
Prairie. It's like a
stretch.
I don't know. We're showing our ignorance here.
Yeah. Anyway. So the next beer is a collab.
I'll let Mazo open it.
Beer that I did with my friends out in Langebaan, Black Eagle Brewing Company. It's a Gose, which is a German-style tart salt beer.
Very well done.
Ooh, classy. 3.5% alcohol, so super light. It's got a bit of salt in it, so instead of just using salt, we actually went down to the lagoon in Langebaan and got some water, chucked it in.
Percentage?
It's very low. It's about 1%. So what we did is we looked up how much salt you'd add to a Gose, then we looked at what the general salinity of seawater is, which is about 35 grams per liter apparently, and then we figured out how much water we needed to add to the 200-liter batch, and then we added it on.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it's got coriander, and then actually this is just soured with acid malt and a bit of citric acid, but again, just to kind of... So I've had some Goses from Germany, and they are surprisingly subtle. Although from Germany, not surprisingly, everything in Germany, all the beers are fairly subtle. But yeah, so it has a tartness, but it's super clean, super drinkable, 3.5%. It's got quite a lot of wheat, which gives it like a bit of body. And this is the style beer I kind of alluded to earlier, where I want to kind of take this kind of low ABV, sessionable, slightly tart, and kind of start weaving in some South African ingredients.
This is very nice.
Yeah.
How old did you say this was?
So we brewed this in, I think, November 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not even 2017. That's
not even 2017. No. So I had sold all of it, I thought. But then when I changed distributors, my distributor found a case of it in the back of their cold room, which I was quite happy about, because then I could drink it. It's one of my favorite beers that I've done since,
it's really, really
with
good.
Hugo at Black Eagle. And yeah, to me it's got the tartness, which kind of just gives it this kind of light, refreshing finish. It's not sour, like kind of bracingly sour. It's got a bit of fruitiness from the coriander. It's got a bit of mouthfeel. It's only 3.5% alcohol.
Is it finishing quite dry for you?
It's got a there's a note that I'm struggling to pick up, which I'm really enjoying.
Is it the beginning of the taste or
middle, end?
Beginning. Granadillery, very like...
Yeah, so this one we actually brewed with a Weissbier yeast. So if I did it again, I'm not sure if I'd do that. I'd probably go a bit more traditional and use like a German ale yeast. which gives you some of that fruity character. And I think that kind of fruitiness and tartness kind of equates to Granadilla, because Granadillas are quite tart fruity.
Yeah. It's very nice. I'm a big fan. I haven't had much. What's it, a Gosa?
Gosa, yeah.
I haven't had many.
Gose. Gosa.
In my beer drinking career, but I'm very fond of them.
Yeah, they're becoming super
This is
popular
anything to go by.
internationally. And I think, I think American styles are more sour. This one's actually more sour than the German ones I've had. So I might dial that back just a touch, like a 5% dial back on the tartness.
To back up on a previous question, I'd actually like to see this being a trend. More sour beers, fruity sour, because I do feel that it would attract a whole new segment of markets, whether it's male or female. It would get a lot of people, more people interested. And compared to the farmhouse ale, this says what's in the beer.
Yeah.
You know it's a sour beer. It's saying it's a sour beer. It might, on the label, whatever Gosa style beer it is, it's going to say, cool, this is going to have lemon, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
it's going to be sour.
That's definitely something I've noticed when I've done some tastings of my sour beers, that they do. It's almost easier to bring people across from a wine kind of lexicon or kind of wine character to sour beers, because they understand acidity, they understand barrel character, they understand dryness, understand fruit character. Kind of bring them across rather than
expecting
a beer drinker who just drinks kind of Black Label to understand,
our beer,
to think about that. So they might drink wine as well, but kind of saying this is more similar to wine, then their kind of brain turns into wine mode, and then you can throw out those words and they understand them.
I have seen how the whole brain influences what people think of your beer, like so often. If you're expecting this and you get that, it's just like brain goes haywire, and it's just like no, I don't like that. Whereas if you steer them here and then you taste it and it's like over here, it's still acceptable.
Yeah. So I think I think there's definitely. So I think there's a lot of potential growth for sour beers in the country. I think a lot of it has to do with education, and I think when we did that thing at Beer House with
Cape Town Festival of Beers,
and kind of just having that kind of preamble and saying what people should expect, and saying, like, when I say sour, I'm not joking, it's sour, and I can think of these types of flavors, and then when people taste it, then they're kind of prepared for it. Whereas if you just
throw it on them, it's not
expecting a beer.
Because, to be fair, our wine drinking public is far more knowledgeable about, if you take it sort of per person, wine drinking is far more knowledgeable just because it's been around for longer.
It has,
than our lagers. Everyone's like, lager's the only type of beer ever. Yeah. Ales, everyone's opinion about ales is it's warm and it's like a bit cuck.
I heard something the other day which just totally just backed that up and just got me thinking, why is it like that? But when you go into a restaurant, let's say you know nothing about wine, which I'd assume the majority of people know nothing about. But when you go into a restaurant and the waiter pours your wine and he pours it a little bit and you say stop and then you taste it to see if it's corked, who's going to pick that up? Who's trained, besides the people who are trained in that, no one's going to know if it's corked or if it's off. But the point I'm trying to make is you've got those small little traditions that you do, that you have to go through and people accept. And that's in wine. And with beer, unfortunately, it's like you said, Maza, it's beer. Let's just order a beer. People just want a beer.
Give me a beer.
I just want a beer.
But I've seen that. I mean, it even goes as far back, not as far back. It's even an error on a lot of restaurants and waiters on their behalf, because you can get a bottle of wine, just a screw off. They still pour you a taster. So you're like, well, am I tasting to see whether the wine's shit or whether it's corked? Because it's not corked. So don't give me a taster, just pour me a glass.
Yeah. But he said just to it's a tradition. So
Yeah.
we go through it.
Let's
the motions.
let's rope it back a bit. I know that we've got half an hour of the show left. I can't believe it.
More beers.
Yeah, we've got some more beers that we need to get through.
This is delicious. I'm a huge fan of this. Very
So,
sad it has.
how's
Is
it,
it going to be coming out?
how's it,
quite a
Mary
little?
Turner? Welcome to the show.
Is he on? Is he on live?
Yes, he's on live. But what I wanted
Welcome. Cheers.
to go through is, I think there was a question from Lloyd on Twitter, why there are so few nitro beers in South Africa.
Nitro.
That's also a good question. Do you have an answer? I've got my answer.
Go for it.
Do you think it's
I think dark beers are not that well received by the public, so people are a little bit scared to have like a full time. A lot of the dark beers you see are seasonals because people don't want to drink in the middle of summer a dark beer. There's just this huge mental perception that it's a heavy.
But his question is not dark beers. His question is nitro beers.
But you know, like 90% of the time, you're having a nitro beer on a dark beer.
I think it alludes more to the cold chain and the storage options, because you've got different. I stand to be corrected, but I know that. Steph, help me out here. Nitro is absorbed at different temperatures. You might need to have it at a different pressure in a different cold room. The way bars are set up in South Africa, you've kind of got one. If you're lucky enough to have a cold room where your kegs can go in, in the majority of South African bars, it's the kegs are under the bar and it's warm under there. And
I think there's a few things. I think I was having a chat on Twitter the other day about the keg scene in South Africa and how it's relatively unique. That in a lot of other places of the world, the bars own their own tap system.
Yeah.
They own their own taps. They own their own serving. So then a lot more bars might have a nitro tap, and then a lot more breweries might experiment with nitro. Whereas here, very few bars have a nitro tap because all the taps are being installed by SAB and a few of the big craft players, and therefore there aren't any nitro taps. So I think it's an investment side on the brewery to say, cool, am I going to move enough beer on that tap to make it worthwhile to install a nitro tap? And probably not. And I think it kind of ties into the dark beer thing. I think dark beers definitely have a perception of being strong and undrinkable and all this
Cold
kind of
weather
stuff, and cold weather, blah, blah, blah. So people have this kind of incorrect perception. Whereas, for me, if I can get a Guinness on nitro, it's super light, refreshing.
Yeah.
It's like 4.5%.
Kilkenny. Give me a Kilkenny.
That's a great question as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. So I think it's kind of coming in from both sides. And actually, before I left Canada, one of the best beers I had was by a brewery called Parallel 49, and they did a English ESB, very traditional ESB, served on nitro. It was one of the most delicious things I've ever tried.
That's what that made me think of. Like maybe
it has this kind of, the hop presence was just really kind of soft, had that kind of very herbaceous kind of English meadow kind of floral character, and it had this really luscious mouthfeel, low alcohol. It was just fucking delicious.
Do you feel cool when you say herbaceous?
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite words.
Do you mind if I start using it a little bit more?
you can only use it for specific things, though.
I'll lend it to you for a month, and you can see how it goes.
This burger that I'm having is pretty herbaceous.
Herbaceous.
Hey, this Greek mayonnaise is herbaceous. Thank you, Lloyd, for that question. Let's see what else we got. After that, we're going to move to a next question. Next
beer.
Next beer.
Yeah, she's struggling a few.
So we're doing 2 more or 1 more?
Murray Turner, a little question for us.
Oh.
If you were an aspiring brewer, what are the steps needed to get your beer commercially available? How quickly could you upscale, and how much do you need to be profitable?
I honestly
don't
think we have enough time to answer that.
Yeah,
Next.
that's a whole show.
Next.
He says he's asking
Lots
for
of
a
money.
friend.
Lots of money. Either go relatively small but sell 100% on site. Don't do small and distribute. Or if you want to distribute, you have to go big and get a proper bottling line. Done.
Yeah.
I think you need to, as you said, you need to have more than enough budgets. If you're lucky enough to have deep pockets or sponsors on board, proper facility, study the markets. And I think the big thing that I would say,
plastic fermenters, just get proper equipment.
The big thing that I would do is, if you're getting into the whole thing because there's profit at the end of the line. You
Wrong reason.
you're in the game for the wrong reason. I think there are too many people who wanting to, put in the brewery, sell
You
it.
normally won't be in for the long run if that's your case, though.
Yeah.
And if you are in for the right reasons, that could be, for the passion, that could be an outcome. But if you're in for that as an outcome, maybe it's not the best.
Yeah.
Because that passion, you do a lot of stuff because it's your passion that you wouldn't do if it were just for an outcome.
Yeah. And I think a lot about this industry, people can see, I don't know what the right word is, but genuineness. People can see if you're genuine or not from a mile off, and if you're not, then it's...
Do you think having a frontman or a figure in the brewery is important? Like most of the good breweries that we know, that there's someone there who's always
kind of the face of the brewery.
Face of the brewery.
I think so.
I think it is, and I think again it kind of leads back to that being genuine and kind of having, because people like craft beer because it's local. You know who brewed the beer.
Just careful there. I don't know if you
Your frontman's
turn it off.
your frontman's genuine as well. So
Yeah.
he's only going to be the frontman because he's...
This. You want the water or what do you want?
It's all falling apart here to Ocean's vibe.
Okay, we've got 20 minutes. We've got 2 more beers. 3 more beers.
Let's do 2.
Passiflora up next.
So that's
Passiflora.
Passiflora, yeah.
Okay, so this is the beer we're giving away. We should probably give this away soon.
Oh! The taste of it.
Remind us what we're drinking now, Mr. Steph.
So this is a Saison base, so like a blonde sour, which I put into a Chardonnay barrel from Takara.
Ooh.
And I aged it with a mixed culture of yeast and bacteria for about 7 or 8 months.
I think we should play the song.
Okay, let's play the song.
Do you think this is a good song?
This is a good song.
Okay, so we're going to play the song. You introduced me to the song. You said we need to play the song when we drink this beer.
Yeah, so this beer, so it's a sour beer. It's got a lot of Brett in it, which has a lot of funky character, and this is a funky song shown to me by my friend Daniel Shields behind Shields Indie Brew.
Okay.
And I think this just kind
man
of
as
fits well, moving on to the proper sour, funky beers.
If you look at the video, the one thing I noticed is all the musicians in the video
Look like Daniel Shields.
No, they look like they've just had a sip of sour beer.
Yeah.
It's that look on your face when you like, oh, I tasted something that's not. I shouldn't have tasted, but I'm gonna taste it again. It's
so right.
It's so like they're like, oh, they're making these faces. Anyway, I'll play the song and we can listen to it in the background. It's definitely one of my favorite songs at the moment. Oh yeah. Okay, let's have our first sip, gentlemen. Oh.
For the listeners out there, it's delicious.
Yeah.
It is really, really.
It
is a fantastic beer.
This is incredible.
So, did you know it was going to be a? I mean, I know, as you said earlier, you're making a beer. It's not a fluke. It's an intentional process. But did you imagine it getting as big a reaction, as hits, as on the money as it is?
No, I mean, so I planned it to be this way. I wasn't sure it would get there.
Yeah.
But it got there. And yeah, so this is one of the first beers, like proper sour beers that I've brewed intentionally all the way through. Didn't just take some other beer which wasn't quite right and soured it or whatever. I kind of made the base beer, added it to the barrel I wanted, used the yeast cultures I wanted, added the fruits that I wanted.
You are just adding lyrics. You're adding lyrics to the song. It's amazing.
We got a question. ABV.
It's about 5.5, 6.
Yeah, so it'll sneak up on you.
Yeah, and I think
it's super sessionable. It's like with all the characteristics it's got. It really shouldn't be this sessionable, and it is.
Yeah, and I think the passion. So again, with choosing fruit for sour beers, you need to taste the beer, decide what fruit would go with it, or if it doesn't need fruit, and then kind of go with it. So I got some passion fruit from a friend of mine, which you guys know, Rob Ambler Smith. He had a whole bunch of passion fruit in his garden, and he harvested all the kind of pulp out of it, froze it, gave it to me, and then I tasted through my barrel stock, said, "Oh, this one will work well with passion fruit."
And even passion fruit in itself, like that, is sour because we've also
Yeah.
got a passion fruit tree in our holiday home. I made one for the Summerfest Southeasters.
And you did very well there, T-Bone. I can't remember you won
No, I came top 3 or something. I can't
Did well.
remember.
You did well.
second.
I think it was second.
I remember you did very well. It was damn delicious.
This is damn delicious. Every beer with passion fruits should be damn delicious.
And there's only about 140 something bottles, and then it's gone.
140 bottles. Well, maybe we shouldn't give that prize out.
All these questions. have been-
139.
Which
138.
which
Having
question
said
did you
that-
like?
Which question do I like?
Well, just give us a reminder. Run through them. I don't know how far back I can go into this chat.
I'll go back.
There's one more question here, which is directed at me, so I'll ask myself. Thoughts
Question for
on
Stefan.
our local hops and favorite local variety? So yeah, I think local hops have been tricky. It's something I've tried to work with quite a bit, something I've wanted to use. I am quite passionate about using local where I can, but I've often found that they don't quite give the character that I'm expecting, which I originally thought was a quality issue, but I think it's just a knowledge issue. It's kind of, we
Yeah.
haven't quite figured out how to use local hops in the best way, which showcases the local hops properly.
Yeah.
And that's something that I would like to do, but I haven't quite got around to it yet. In terms of favorite varieties, I think there's definitely Southern Passion fruit kind of character, which
And-
works really well, and then also the African Queen or J17.
But which Southern Passion has done incredibly well internationally.
yeah.
So it's not like the SAB hops are lacking. It's exactly what you say. They're not lacking quality. They've really got good quality. They're just, I
some
think,
of them.
lacking
We've got great hops.
especially Southern Passion is really pushing the boundaries. I know there was a huge, the whole bloody South African hop gate vibe with so many people around the world being so pissed off they couldn't get hold of it. And that just shows that there's amazing things happening with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also a thing with just like leading back to what it's kind of been a thread through our conversations, this kind of quality and packaging side of things, is South African beers, even with great international hops, struggle to kind of showcase that hop character. Whereas, and then you use local hops and it does the same thing. Whereas I think once people start kind of being able to showcase hops properly by being able to focus on packaging and things, and then using South African hops properly, I think we'll get there and kind of realize where they realize what they can give us. Yeah.
Well, good question.
Okay, let's go through those questions. 'cause
I must just say quickly, we've got someone tuned in from Colesberg, so we're far-reaching here.
Ooh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah. Welcome through Brett Meadows.
I don't know.
Very happy that it
Very
just
happy.
popped up here. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So we've got Rowley's question about the forgotten beer styles. We've got Curtis' question about the little wolf, who gave hops their name. Beer Pants, Isinglass. Rowley had another question, but no, never mind. He got disqualified. Beer Bar Beyond. No, he just was mentioning.
We had what
was
is the most
Lloyd
difficult part of the
Nitro.
brewing?
Lloyd was Nitro beers. Murray was what are the steps needed?
I think the
Russell Nadir
forgotten
was
beer styles for me is the.
standout.
Do you like that one?
I like that one now.
Well, I mean, it's your competition, so
No, because you know why? Because it's Rowley. And he,
well,
he unfortunately made a very unfortunate chirp.
That's why there's
There's
three.
contention now. So there's
Yeah, but there's three people, and as co-host, I think everyone's vote counts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
and
fair
guest code counts twice.
Well, we only need you only need to count once for us to outpower this.
no. So who's your vote going for?
Well, it's
Really.
I don't know. I'm stumped. I thought I was just saying it does count.
Okay, so who's your vote?
I'll go with Rody on that as well then.
Really?
Well, Stefan's, I mean, it's his competition, so I'm going to back him on that.
Yeah, but it is my show, and
That's true.
I am the
That's
host.
true.
I am here again and again. So I think because of Rowley's
So you can
comments,
win next one.
how about this? we'll award it to Rowley, but he has to have it with me. He has to open it with me because of his comments. I think
Or
that's
he has to send another tweet, but he can't insult me on it and say that first tweet was cuck. He needs to do another tweet.
Retract it.
Yeah, and he has to be very smart about
He has
it.
to otherwise he's going to go down his hand. It's fake news. It's false.
Fake news.
Thank you very much. That was Wolfpack, and the song was called Dean Town. I dig it.
Yeah, it's a goodie.
I'm gonna
That bass is just working.
I'm gonna put it into my earphones. I'm gonna walk down the street.
Yeah, it's a winner. It's a winner.
Guys, it's 13:48. Should we open one more beer, or how do you feel? What I don't know.
Oh, what sort of a question is that? Go.
Yeah, chug.
It's delicious.
So we've got either another sour or another special summon.
Let's have
T-Bone.
let's have the special something because
Sounds good to me.
fuck it. So
Because it's special.
This year has been so tough so far.
Water.
I'm needing that toilet right about now.
Yeah, me too. It's
It's 12 minutes to go. It's fine.
Okay, so this beer was brought to me by my good friend Hilton Brown. He's in the UK at the moment, and this is a limited edition Windswept Brewing Co. And the beer's called The Wolf of Glen Moray. So you see the little theme there.
the wolf.
I hope he's listening. It's a dark Scottish ale. It's been aged in Glen Moray whiskey casks.
Sounds delicious.
Brewed in Lossiemouth, Scotland.
Sounds very Scottish.
It's bottle number 316 of 1,681. It's 9.2% volume. Show the people.
the people what they want.
He bought this to me about 2 years ago. And I thought, no, let me
Save it for special occasion.
save it for a special occasion. Let me save it. And I always thought, no, I need to bring a wolf beer. Watch it, where is that?
Power art.
Well, thank you for saving it for us. Very much looking forward to it.
It's a pleasure. If I could just get it to open.
It'd be a trick.
So, are we happy awarding the prize to
We're happy.
Well, I mean,
You're not, but we are.
Rowley?
he has to issue a formal apology. I think that's what Andrew reckons, and I think that's Andrew from Beer Bar and Beyond, and I think that's
Fair.
that's
enough.
fair only because it's your show.
We need to thank everyone for actively participating today.
Yeah.
It's been a great show. So let's have this.
To celebrate you guys.
I'm going to rinse my.
You make sure you rinse your glass, but because this
did.
is going to be.
Yeah,
And if you don't mind, I'm going to give myself a little bit more.
that's fine.
That's
Oh my sweet baby Jesus! That is. Smell that. That's unbelievable. Good Lord, that's. I'm getting. I'll wait till you guys have poured yourself. I'm just getting chocolates.
oh, I thought you said you were going to wait.
No, I couldn't.
I'm just going to wait until you guys smell it. I'm just getting chocolate.
Guys, what a great show. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Mazza, co-host, well done.
Thank you.
First time for Little Wolf. Mr. Steph, thank you. I think we're definitely going to have you back because
Sounds great. I'll be keen, eh?
we definitely have to have a part 2 of this.
Can I smell yours? I want to smell yours.
No way.
I want to smell yours.
Why?
Just give it. I promise you, I'll just smell it.
You promise.
promise. I'll just smell it.
You promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, that just shows how damn delicious it is.
The trust in this studio runs deep. I'm getting a lot of tobacco, cigar box.
Cigar box. I'm getting that. You weren't watching. Maybe I switched it.
Maybe you switched them. I know which one. I know. Okay, let's have a little sniff. So, definite, woody, not overpoweringly woody,
that
but
kind of very kind of fresh,
taste the
light,
cheese.
sweet. Yeah.
it's like when you walk into I suppose a whiskey bar or place that's that's a Scottish bar. I don't know if you can take yourself there. Just go
Never
with me.
been there, but yes.
But I'm definitely getting like a chocolate syrup, not a fake sweetness, but
Yeah. For me, so when we were in Canada, we did a little trip down to Cuba, and they've got those like a cigar.
Just a little trip.
Just a little trip down there.
Just have a look in there. But look, it's nice. It's got little speckles.
And to me, it's that cigar box gives you that very kind of vanilla-y, soft, sweet.
Sure, this is. It's no, don't Troy me. That was me. I'm talking this has got a very smooth mouthfeel, maple, but it's also not. It's not like 100% smooth. It's got a little bit of alcohol, which I think has kind of died over the years, which is a nice thing.
The maple, there's a sweetness to it
like
that's
a
very
maple
welcome.
bacon.
Well said.
It's not a
well said. There
it's
is
not
a maple syrup kind of note, not honey, but more.
and it's
tree
it's,
sap.
It's really it's very welcome. It adds a nice complexity to it. It's not a sweetness that you get from a beer that hasn't fermented out properly. It's a hopefully an intentional sweetness. If not, it's bloody good.
Yeah, so it's not like a cloying. It's kind of like a maple plus like you can imagine like a maple smoked salmon kind of character almost. So it's got that kind of sweetness of the salmon and sweetness of the maple, a bit of smoke.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So how much whiskiness do you get from this?
I think because
It's aged nicely.
I think
it's
because-
settled out.
yeah, and I kept the bottle for this reason. I got, as I said, received the bottle 2 years ago. I thought, no, let me not open it right now. Let me just let that whiskey and that harsh, if any
was,
harsh
yeah.
notes, just kind of mellow out.
Yeah, it doesn't taste old.
I think everyone's got their own collection. I assume people got their own collection of beers that they're just not touching.
Yeah.
I think I've got. Maybe I shouldn't say it on live radio.
Breaking
into
Troy's house on my...
This was one. I think I've got another 3 that are also that I've written on the bottle.
Yeah.
2019
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Got wines like that.
Yeah.
This does say here, which is a very slightly educational, I think. Best before May 2016.
Really?
But because it is a strong beer and it is complex and it has been, I don't know whether aging it's in, well, actually aging in whiskey barrels has got nothing to do with that. But because it's a strong beer and it's complex, it can mellow out. Whereas if you did have a 5% beer or 4% beer, I would not.
Like a hoppy
I
beer.
would not leave it. Yeah,
Yeah.
or a hoppy beer. I wouldn't leave it this long.
And you wouldn't be surprised on #beer.
Old hoppy beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fantastic.
It's delicious. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would say whiskey. I definitely get some wood character, but a smoke character. I'm not sure I necessarily get whiskey itself. But yeah, big, bold, dark, and delicious.
Do you get a yeasty, not a Bovrily, but you get that yeasty note?
Almost.
Like that very, very, very.
Well, you got the last pour.
I'm
so
not
maybe
getting
you got-
too much savory.
I do have the murky floaties, which I'm a fan of.
Right, guys, we've got about 3 minutes left of the show.
Spice as well.
What's
warms up.
and there's so much that I wanted to talk about, but I think we've covered most of it. But I think from my side, 2017 was a really challenging year, but it kind of rounded up nicely, and we kind of looked back and thought, wow, all that shit that went on actually come together quite nicely. So I kind of feel that 2017 had to happen in order for 2018 for 2018 to happen. It's kind of like a stepping stone.
It's chronological.
So
It has to.
it has to.
It's impossible for it to
how
not
numbers
happen.
work.
You can't skip it, yeah. No, but I really feel like, #Beer Time is going to go to the next level this year. So I'm excited to show all the listeners. I'm excited to show all the brewers where we're going. There's a lot on my plate. I've learned to kind of say no to things and kind of just separate things and just focus on one thing. And for now it's this exam that I've got. It's the Craft Beers Association meeting at the end of the month, which I've got, and then we're going to start getting things into motion. I've still got my Brewing the Republic craft beer documentary, which is I need to do a few trips up to Joburg and start talking about production, and that's a whole nother kettle of fish. So that's going to start happening. From you guys, I want to know what's 2018 got in store for you. What are you looking forward to? Yeah, what do you see happening in your own world?
I guess from my side, so obviously this Devil's Peak kind of partnership happened at the end of last year, and I pushed quite hard for it to happen. They wanted to do it, kind of after the summer this year, and but I wanted to get all the paperwork and all the kind of teething issues out of the way, so that 2018 could kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm super excited. I think it's been an amazing experience. It's been, even though it's only been a couple of months, it's been much more than I would have expected. I think just being able to go there and being surrounded by people who are the best at what they do, and kind of being able to fill in those sides of me which are missing, So like, if I've got a marketing question or a sales question, there's people who've been doing it for a long time who just know it intrinsically, know the industry intrinsically. I think the quality of product, because of equipment and also staff and knowledge and kind of other people there, has just kind of gone through the roof. But then there's also, the reason this thing came about was they liked what I was doing, and they want me to carry on doing that, but just kind of take away the other things and support me to do what I enjoy doing. And that's fucking exciting, and I can't wait to see where it goes and what happens and what comes out of it.
And sorry to interrupt, it's very good for the industry. It's great for the industry that there's something like that there's backing pushed into something that isn't necessarily headlining the beers, like sours and like your botanicals and stuff it's not like the lager. So it's nice to see stuff that there's money being pushed into something that's going to grow the industry.
Yeah, I think it's going to broaden the industry and kind of give depth to the industry. And I think a lot of other breweries around the country are also kind of starting to get onto this quality and experimental. And I think 2018 is going to be a great year for beer.
Maza, what's
looking for growth, education, trying to just get the name out there, do a couple micro batch series brews, get the beer drinking public.
When's old T-Bone can come brew a little beer down at Metal Lane?
So you name the time, the places, where the place is. We'll do it. I'm very keen to do I've got my microbatch series all lined up. It's just something I'm going to be doing with once-off brews, same sort of thing. Just, it's going to be fun for me to brew. It's going to be fun for the public to open their mind and drink beers that aren't necessarily always available.
Yeah.
Different stuff. Beers that maybe not what you expect in a beer, just mainly behind education, making it fun for me, making it growing the industry, hopefully.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, guys, I think that's a great way to end the show. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank people who were watching on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, there's been great
interaction today. I think we've got a good thing going here with a little competition and giving away some beer. So thank you very much to you guys. Thank you to the Twitter sphere for people getting involved, and congrats to the people who are going to get some tasty treats. To my guest Steph from Little Wolf. Thank you for the beer. Thank you for the music. And as I said before, we'll definitely have you on the show again.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Maza, co-host. Thank you very much.
Always good to be here.
I look forward to having more good shows. I've put in a word with the management. We need 4 microphones.
Ooh. Stepping up.
And there's a port here. There's
space.
There's a microphone port here.
Also, 2 minutes past.
What a great way to end the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. As I said earlier in the show, I will not see you next week. I might do a little sneaky show just to give you something. But
little something
next week. Tuesday I'm busy, but I will be back the following week. So Have a good 2 weeks, and we will see you soon. Be safe, be merry, don't drink and drive, and just drink local. Drink good beer.
Drink good beer.
Drink Little Wolf.
It's all about quality.
Go out and taste it. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
And how can they get hold of you on social media?
Social media,
Facebook,
my
Instagram.
website. You can find my email address, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
It's just if you know Google, you
Hit me
can
up.
find it.
If you know Google.
Hit me up. Little Wolf.
What is this Google? Guys, we will see you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, guys and girls. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for #BeerTime. That's #BeerTime written out in full. Hope you enjoyed the show, and check you next time. Cheers.